Hello and happy March. Can you believe it is March? Where is the time going? I'm happy that we're in March. I'm looking forward to daylight savings time next week because, yeah, I like the sunlight. I like the sunshine. I like the long days, all of those things. I like the warm weather. I am that girl. So, yes, I'm looking forward to it. But welcome to another week and another month of The Woman Behind the Leader. And as I shared last month, I'm really flipping the script this month because I really want to lean into practical formation and what I really do with clients. I am a certified coaching consultant through Giant Worldwide. I love, love, love our content. And this month, I'm really going to lean into the content that I use with clients through Giant and why I've chosen Giant versus Disc. I've used Disc, great. I have taken the Enneagram. That was never one that really resonated with me. But I've done Myers Briggs, Strengths Finder, a lot of different assessment, but there is something different about the Giant content and what I have seen clients experience, what I have experienced personally. And this month, we're going to lean into that formation. So for the month of March, I'm really using what it means to lead steady, lead strategically, and really to anchor in. What does that look like? And so today for March, my topic is lead steady and know your voice before you climb, before you elevate, before you level up. I really want you to know your voice order. And so for March, I want to do something just a little different, not with ambition, not with hustle, not with strategy. I want to start with awareness and how well you know yourself as a leader. And this really is the internal work that we will do this week. And next week, we'll look at external work. So, because before we talk about leadership gaps or advancements, we have to ask a simpler question like, why do I have you here? And my question is, do you understand who you are and how you lead? Right? In the giant world, we would ask a similar question of what are people experiencing on the other side of you? How aware of you of who you are and how you lead? Because the more aware we are of that, the better leaders we become. Most women that I coach are incredibly competent. They are credentialed, they are high performing, they are trusted, and yet they second guess themselves. It really is the confidence, not because they lack skill, but because they lack clarity about their voice. They lack the courage to speak up or know when to not speak up. It is something about the confidence and the clarity in their voice that really sometimes paralyzes them. And here's what I found: when you don't understand your voice, you will either overcompensate or underuse your influence. Hear me. When you don't understand your voice, the influence and the impact you have, you will either overcompensate by trying to prove you belong in the room, by talking so much to convince people that you know what you know or that you have a right in the space, or you will underuse your influence by shrinking back, by not speaking up, by not sharing the knowledge you have. And that's why this week we're starting with Five Voices. I love Five Voices, not as a side tool, but as a foundation. Like it really was a game changer for me and my life. When I took Five Voices in 2019, it changed how I saw myself and how I saw my leadership. And really, it was because I finally felt like this assessment, they got me, like they understood me, that I am quiet by nature, that I am an observer, that I'm an internal processor. But it also helped me see what that cost me sometimes. I realized that some of what I thought were weaknesses were actually strengths misapplied. I would use being an introvert and being quiet as, hey, that's just how I am and that's how I show up. But it really is a strength that I can step into a space that I can observe, but I didn't know how to apply that strength. I didn't know when to use my voice. I didn't know why I questioned my ability to speak. And some of what I thought were strengths were actually blind spots showing up under pressure. So my shrinking back, my going quiet, because sometimes I'm silent, but then there are times I go quiet. They were blind spots that were really negative power, where I would pull back and have the attitude that I've tried to tell you, you deal with it as you may. I didn't realize that was a negative power and impact. That awareness of understanding my voice, my leadership style, how I'm wired, it steadied me. It gave me a new level of confidence. It didn't make me necessarily louder, it made me clearer. It made me courageous. And did you know that women represent nearly half of the workforce, but only about 11% of Fortune 500 CEOs? Now, I want you to think about that. The reason I'm doing this series of the woman behind the leader is we represent half of the workforce, but there's only 11% of us of Fortune 500 CEOs. So we're there, but what is preventing us from elevating, from moving up, right? And instead of us reacting emotionally to that number, I want us to respond intelligently. I really want to be able to talk through the things that I see in coaching sessions in organizations that are preventing us from closing the gap, right? Now, before you try to close the gap externally, you must understand yourself internally, which is why we're spending this week talking about how well do you know yourself? How well do you know how you lead? What are people really experiencing with you? Misalignment may create insecurity, but clarity creates confidence. Misalignment may create insecurity, but clarity, when you are clear about who you are and clear about how you lead, clear about how you're wired, it creates a new level of confidence. And here's what I see as an opportunity. Many women don't struggle with competence. That's not it. They struggle with overextending their strength. They struggle with shrinking their voice. They struggle with leading in ways that exhaust them. They struggle with comparing their style to dominant personalities. And Five Voices gives us language to all of that. So let me show you the tool. This is the Five Voices tool. And today I'm going to encourage you to really take the assessment, because I want you to understand the nurturers who are champions of people who may be on your team, who bring relational harmony and how they lead, which may be different than the creative, your future thinker, or your guardian who due diligence and processes and systems are what drive them, or the connector who are your networkers, they're your head and heart people, or your pioneer who's your military strategist. Today, as you look at this, I want you to take the assessment, and I want you not to just take it casually, but I want you to be intentional about an opportunity to learn a leadership style, your leadership style, and how you can grow as a leader. Now, I provided the link below. There's no cost to take it, but I'm going to spend all week talking about this. And after you complete it, here's what I want you to think about. What is my superpower? Like, when you get the assessment, you're going to get some information. Where do I overuse my superpower and where do I underuse it? Remember, I told you that I am quiet. I'm a first voice nurturer. So when you look here, you see I am a champion of people and relational harmony, right? And so I advocate for others very well, but I also can underuse that. So when you begin to look at your results, I want you to look at it. What are your superpowers? Where do you use them? Where do you not use them? What stress behaviors show up when you feel unseen or unheard or unappreciated? Oh, we're going to talk about the blind spots. We're going to talk about how we respond to stress. because all of that impacts how we lead in spaces and how that impacts our team, how that influences those around us. And here's again what I've learned: it's hard to position what you do not understand strategically, right? We need to understand strategically how we're wired as leaders, how we work with others who may be wired different from us. And I can't position myself if I don't understand strategically how this works. So that's where we're going for the month of March. Later this week, we'll talk about visibility, we'll talk about sponsorship, and a little more about positioning. But none of that works if you're trying to lead in someone else's voice. You cannot be other than who you are. If you're a nurturer trying to lead like a pioneer, trust me, you will burn out. If you're a creative trying to perform like a guardian, you will shrink back. It is going to wear you out. So today is not about climbing, it's all about knowing. And that's this week. We're going to talk about knowing ourselves to lead ourselves. And you don't need to become someone else to lead. You need to understand who you already are. This month, we're forming leaders who are steady in identity, strategic in action, and anchored in purpose. And it starts with knowing your voice. So don't forget to take the 5 Voices assessment. The link is below, and tune in tomorrow as we go deeper. I can't wait to see you.